Friday flap number 3. Good Thursday evening to you all, YouTube. It is 8:38 now on this, like I said, Thursday. This is going to be my Friday flap. I didn't get a very good response to my last video, the new project. So I'm going to proceed and do it on my own, I guess. Didn't get anybody wanted to volunteer on it, so Bob is helping me. That's good. So to the end of that, I have secured a couple of radios today to use for my experiment. First one is a Motorola, as you can see right here, model 5A5. This is a tube portable lunchbox radio, they call them, something like that. That price there, it did not sell for $14.99. It sold for $10. I paid $10 for it, and as you can see when I do the rest of the pictures, you'll see why I didn't pay much more for it. There's the one picture of the outside, or what do you want to call it. You know, it's a little bit dinged up and scratched up and stuff like that, but it's not too bad. Next one is this one here. Now this shows a lot more detail as far as being pretty bad shape. Handles broke, scratched up. That really doesn't concern me. In fact, that was exactly what I was looking for to get one of these. There's the front and the back, I guess, is what that would be. Front here is the tuning. Here is down here, and the volume controls up here. The only thing I'm interested in is this part down here. We're going to use this for our RF section. Alright, the last picture here is, again, as you can see, it's kind of rough looking. But again, that's what I wanted, was something that I wouldn't be tempted to not tear apart. And I'm not going to be tempted with this for sure. So that's going to be, as I said, my RF section. It'll be a tube section. These, as you'll see later, have the 1 volt, 1.4 volt tubes in them, and so that's going to be good. Next radio I have up to show is the GE solid state. That's the T1130B. Again, the same thing on this. I did not pay $16.95 for this. I paid $12.50, and it was a make offer, so got that coming. And let's take a more closer look at this. This is a actually nice radio. As you can see, it's pretty good shaped cabinet and stuff like that. So there's a back side. That gives you the model number 1130B. Again, good cord on it. Everything looks good. Now this radio is supposed to work pretty good, which is helpful because of the way I have this planned out. Here's the top of it. And there's another picture of the front or top, whatever you want to call it. It looks pretty good, like I said. No complaints. Now this radio is only going to be used for the IF section, so we won't have to mess with that very much. Let's take a quick look at the schematic for both. This is back to the Motorola. You can see this is a tube radio. We're going to zoom in on this a little bit to go into the oscillator modulator here. Right, oscillator modulator, okay, whatever. But as you can see, it's got the antenna, and the RF section is here, and I think from what Bob says, we're going to try to use this first IF with this radio and go from there. So that's the way it's looking, and then I'll show you the schematic for the other radio. Alright, what we're looking at now is the schematic for the GE radio. As you can see, it is solid state. Let's zoom in on this a little bit also. And we'll go up here, or down here I should say. Now, the RF section is here, and we're not going to be using that. And as we're using the first IF on the other, from the tube radio, we're not going to be using this one either. Probably will try to insert the signal somewhere in after that. Now, as this radio works alright, probably what I'll do is get the other one working. And I've got that mapped out pretty much also. Let me show you that. Alright, here you can see the close-up of the section that we're going to be using from the Motorola. 1.5 volts is going to be fed in here. This will be our filament voltage. It goes to ground. That's all we'll need for that. Everything else is intact as far as the completeness of what we need here. We will be using the first IF, as I said. That just makes it a little bit easier to do, and we're going to try to experiment a little bit with it and do it that way. But I think that's going to be good. We've got the only problem we're going to have is this AGC. Now, Bob pointed out, tubes use a negative AGC, and transistor radios use positive. Not saying we can't obviously flip the voltage, but we're gonna see about using that, and we don't know for sure. B plus is going to be, I think it's 67.5 volts for battery supply, and I think that's probably what we'll use for the B plus, and supply that there. And I think that should give us our output here, and I'll show you that. As I said, that should give us our output right here, 455 kilohertz IF output from this first transformer, and that should be able to tune the spectrum from 535 to 1600 or whatever it tunes. The antenna is intact and everything is there, and it should produce that. And as I said, I think what we're going to do is take that one capacitor out. Let's look at that. Okay, again, you can see here's our front end over here. This is our mixer oscillator, whatever you want to do, oscillator converter. Transistor comes in over here. For the oscillator, this is the oscillator coil, transformer actually. It comes out of here, goes into the first IF right here. And between the first IF and the second IF is a capacitor, C4 here. And I think what I'm going to do is remove that and insert that signal that I pointed out earlier from the Motorola into that position there. And I think that will give us our, pretty sure that will give us an output from the speaker of the GE, because you have to keep in mind that this radio does work, and as such it's going to be able to be used for both sections until I get a good signal. I may want to do some more explorations on this too, so I don't know exactly if that's going to end the whole thing or not, but that's going to be a good starting point, I guess is what I'd say. And if I get this to work where it should work there. Also, when these are hooked up, they will be isolated from one another. I'll use the isolation transformer for this one because it is a line voltage set, and we can look down here at the other end and see 117 VAC right here. So, like I said, it's a table model AM radio is what it is. So anyway, that's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be isolated, and I'll before I even try a ground to ground connection, I'll measure the voltage difference, make sure there's no difference, and if there isn't, there shouldn't be. Again, I'll use that output from the Motorola is going through a 100 picofarad capacitor, and that will be inserted here, basically the input of the T2. And like I said, that should produce a signal output from the speaker. And so if it does, then that's going to be a good deal. If it does work that way, what I'll do is break the connection at the volume control, which I had that here a minute ago. Where'd it go? and oh, here it is right here. Here's the volume control, and we will basically run a line to our LM386 amplifier here, and that will give us all three stages, or hybrid varieties. You'll have a tube front end, a solid state transistor interstage coupling or section, and a IC for the output. So that will give us everything we want. And now Bob has been hard at work. You know Bob. You all know Bob. And he has been working on a power supply for this. And I think what he came up with is going to work out really nice. It's going to give us all our voltages that we need. Give us 1.5 volts for the filament on the Motorola. Give us our 67.5 or whatever 70 volts for a B plus on that, and also be able to come up with enough voltage here. I think it's 8 volts is what I think it says right there, and I think that's probably all we need for this section here. So that's the plan, and like I say, that's what I'm planning on doing, and I'm hoping that it will work out. The Motorola has already got a tracking number. It hasn't actually been shipped, but a tracking number has been provided, so at least I know it's going to be shipped fairly soon, and we'll be getting that in the mail, and hopefully the GE shortly after. And I don't want to really mess that GE up too bad. For right now, like I said, I just may use it in the case and remove the capacitor at, like I said, C4, and put my input in from that, and then take the I think there's a capacitor off that volume control also, and we'll take the output from there, and we'll go from there. So anyway, we can also take it above the capacitor if we want to do that too, or not the capacitor but the volume control. Yeah. Just a few things to work out as far as the coupling and the AGC and things like that, but I don't think it'll be too hard to do, really, and I think we'll have a working radio. Now, how well it works, I don't know, but with AM, it shouldn't be that bad. Now, the last time I did this signal substitution, I was using an FM radio, and that worked out really well. At one point, I could take and use the output from the good radio and just hold it near the section that it needed to be in, and the radio was working from that, just having no direct connection. So like I said, these signals are pretty easily transferred from one tube to solid state or IC or whatever, and so if this works out, I think what I'm going to do is basically maybe try a different connection type thing, and maybe use the front end from the tube radio or the transistor radio, use the IF from the tubes, and you know, something like that. We'll do something. The only problem with this doing ICs is the fact that most ICs, I'm sure there are some specialty ICs out there that would cover a different thing, but most of those are limited to whole radios on a chip, and obviously that's gonna not allow for much addition of hybrid components. So like I said, I don't think that's going to work out. So let me get back to our regular flapping part now, and we'll go from there. Okay, for other things on this video, hand is really not changed a lot. I did not take any Tylenol at all last night. Thought I would try that to see how that worked out. Now this morning, it was pretty stiff when I got up. I've noticed the gout has moved into my wrist section, and seems to be concentrated there right at the moment. I probably will take some Tylenol tonight, and hopefully get rid of that pain so I can sleep. I didn't sleep too bad last night. It wasn't great, wasn't too bad, so you know, it's kind of works both ways, I guess. But anyway. So anyway, basically, like I said, it's I'm just not I'm not there yet. I'm hoping to get back to the MFP and get working on that again, and I want to get that done, and that actually is going to come in handy for using for my next project, my new project, to get our voltages that we need. And one thing about the I was mentioning on the first part of this video that the voltages, the radios will be isolated. Now the transistor radio that, like I said, is connected to line voltage, and it basically rectifies that for its power supply, and then it will be plugged into my isolation transformer that will isolate it. Now the Motorola section, the RF section, that will be probably using either a 5-volt battery, or not 5-volt battery, a 1.5 volt battery for the filament, and then hopefully the new dual DC power supply will provide the 67.5 or 70, whatever I use for our B+, and that way I can use that and have that available also. So and that will be isolated as well, because that goes through the Variac, which obviously is not a isolation transformer, it is an auto transformer, but that feeds that power transformer, which that does isolate it from the line. And so both the units will be isolated. Again, I don't know what the end result will be on that, but I plan on before I connect the grounds between the two sections, I will measure the voltage difference and see if there is any difference, and we can go from there. And this is something I found with my signal substitution, that it is not necessary to have a ground when we are talking about an RF signal. I didn't use a ground when I was doing the FM radios, and that worked fine. Just the input from the signal level from the oscillator section, or wherever I had it all hooked up to, was enough to make the radio play just fine. And so that's the plan. So even if I don't get the grounds hooked up initially, you know, that will be it. But now once I get the power supply that Bob has designed, see if I can find that on the, what do you call it? Alright, well, there's a look at it. This is, like I said, what Bob has in mind for this project. One transformer, several outputs for the transformer, as you can see. I think he did mention that he was going to have a different setup for the rectification on either this one or this one. I can't remember. Oh, this is the one right here. See, he's got 4 taps on this one, which is kind of nice. 88 volts, 66, 44, and 22. That will be obviously the B+, and this one in the middle is the bias type supply, if needed. And so that's what we'll have there. This one's our 1.5 volt filament voltage, or filament supply. So you can see we have LM317 and our 3 diodes there for voltage drop, and that will give us the required amount, I do believe. And so that's what it's going to look like. So thanks to Bob for that. So that's that. Again, I haven't felt like doing any work on the C3, the heat kit, to get that out. It's still listed on the test equipment listing, and of course it's still on eBay, or YouTube, sorry. And so that's that. Again, I just don't see any use in trying to sell it or put it on eBay yet, because I really don't, not equipped to get it packed up and shipped. Until I'm ready to do that, there's no sense in doing that. Doubt that I'll make another, again, I think I mentioned this before, that I doubt that I'll do another Saturday sale until that is gone. I don't want to get all cluttered up with different things ready to sell or whatever like that, but so like I say, that's pretty much going to do that one. Not much else going on. I haven't really been out much. I really haven't felt like going out. I've had I did eat a couple meals out. Wendy's, I think is what it was. But then Lexi has been here. Of course, she's been stopping by and getting something to eat now and then. So that's been nice. And so that's pretty much it on that. I don't really think I have much more going on. Probably a brief flap, but you know, it is what it is. this is really all the kind of the video I feel like making right now. I don't really feel like doing anything at the bench. I'm not totally helpless, but it just, right now my elbow is sore again. Seems to be, you know, probably from the gout being there before. I think it's sore from that. But again, I woke up pretty sore this morning, and like I said, I didn't take any Tylenol last night, but I will tonight. So I think that's going to do it. Wanted to mention Bill's little intro that he does on his electronic videos. I like it, Bill. That's really neat. I think that's cool that you're doing that. And of course, Bill's been at this for a long time, and he knows what kind of stuff people like to watch. So that's about it. Like I said, I just wanted to make this addendum to the initial part of it. I'm really excited about getting this project going. I was excited when I did the signal substitution. I just thought that was kind of a neat thing to do, to be able to do, I should say. And this is going to be equally as neat, I think. So we will see, I guess, when it happens. But until then, I guess you guys have a pleasant evening. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see ya.